Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. I take refuge in the Buddha, the one who shows me the way in this life. Namo Buddhaya. I take refuge in the Dharma, the way of understanding and of love. Namo Dhammaya. I take refuge in the Sangha, the community that lives in harmony and awareness. Namo Sanghaya. Dwelling in the refuge of Buddha, I clearly see the path of light and beauty in the world. Dwelling in the refuge of Dharma, I learn to open many doors on the path of transformation. Dwelling in the refuge of Sangha, shining light that supports me, keeping my practice free of obstruction. Taking refuge in the Buddha in myself, I aspire to help all people recognize their own awakened nature, realizing the mind of love. Taking refuge in the Dharma in myself, I aspire to help all people fully master the ways of practice and walk together on the path of liberation. Taking refuge in the Sangha in myself, I aspire to help all people build fourfold communities, to embrace all beings and support their transformation. And I just like to share just a quote from Dr. Beatrice Berry as part of our inclusive values. One of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal is the tool of diversity. By learning from and tapping into a variety of information, philosophies, and theoretical perspectives, we can not only change the way we see the world, but we can change the world that lies within. I am certain that my ability to move beyond the poverty that I grew up in was largely due to the diversity of information, ideas, and people who became a part of my life. When I opened my mind and heart to the diversity of the world, I opened the avenues to succeed. So let us find a comfortable upright posture, or choosing a posture that feels supportive for what our body needs today and in this moment. So maybe that could be sitting or standing or lying down. We can cultivate mindfulness in any posture. And really the invitation here is to find that sense of comfort and stability, but also a posture that allows the mind to be alert, uh, awake, energized, and relaxed. So oftentimes, the practice of meditation can be viewed as this passive practice. And so what are we doing? First, we stop from doing. We let the body come to this state of non-doing and just being with our present moment experience, being with what's here now as we inhabit the body, as we turn our awareness to our internal experience. And then there's the other component of the practice where we are actively present. So arousing just the right amount of energy to stay interested. That lucid state where we are fully here, fully one with our experience and with this body. So choosing a posture that feels stable, easeful, simple, and gentle. And just a reminder that at any point in time during the practice, if you feel the need to shift posture, to move from sitting to standing or walking or lying down, know that you're always in choice. To cultivate this awareness means that we also listen and honor what the body needs from us. This is a practice of loving kindness, of care. So this moment-to-moment curiosity is allowing our body to experience ease and rest, not forcing ourselves to be some other way, not forcing the body to be in any particular way other than a way that feels kind, natural. I will invite the bell in the middle of our sitting, and that could be an invitation to shift posture if you'd like. And maybe if you feel it's too much, you're always welcome to come out of the practice. Mm. Feeling calm, maybe grounding in the breath, perhaps allowing the breath to become deeper and fuller. Full body breathing or belly breathing. And so you're extending the lungs' capacity to take in air, pausing in between the in-breath and the out-breath, and in between the out-breath and the in-breath, not holding it, not forcing it, but lengthening, lingering, pausing, trusting in the breath to take care of us. So instead of being the one to breathe, we let the breathing happen. And we follow, we listen, we sense into the experience of breathing. And if the breath is available for you today, I invite you to see if you can enjoy breathing. Enjoy this gift of breathing. Enjoy this miracle of breathing. Feeling the breath energy throughout the body. You might also notice the range of sensations that are present. Pulsing sensation, vibrating sensations, tingling sensations. Just capturing the feel of sensation. And seeing if there's a possibility to soften with sensations. And maybe sending the breath to these parts within where there might be tension or tightness or neutrality. Or maybe if it feels neutral or good, you can savor that, wherever that is. Resting in that spaciousness or resting in the goodness. Maybe there's another anchor that feels more grounding and supportive. That could be sound, tuning into sound, sound happening in the present moment, or tuning into the body and feeling the pressure points where the body makes contact with the chair or the cushion or the floor. Recalling the physical body. There's a body in this posture, and it feels like this. How do you know you're sitting? How do you know you're standing or walking or lying down? Oh, it feels like this. The bend in the knee or the bend in the elbow, the way the spine is stacked. And knowing that you can always shift from one anchor to another. But really letting awareness land, just like a butterfly landing on a flower petal. Gently land. Pay attention to what is coloring the mind. As soon as we can name it and acknowledge what's here, what's blocking us from being fully here, there's the part that wakes up and return back to the present moment, making the U-turn back to the breath, back to awareness of the body, back to the space. Each moment that we remember is a moment we're cultivating that quality of wakefulness, seeing things as they are, seeing mind, experiencing the mind, experiencing the body. Is there room in there for kindness to enter, that way of gentleness, that way in which we maybe connect to the tenderness in our heart, or the part that allows for whatever is there to be there, not resisting it, not trying to make anything go away, just present for it, coming home to it and saying, hello, darling, hello, friend, I've come home to be with you now. Maybe it's coming home to our perception, our feelings, coming home to the body, coming home to all these things that are calling for our care, our attention, waiting for awareness to acknowledge its presence within us, these mental and emotional phenomena and bodily phenomena. That's saying to us, remember me, or where have you been? Come back. And in the moment you hear the bell, that's just the midpoint of our practice. And you're welcome to continue practicing in the posture you've chosen, or you're welcome to shift posture. Mindful awareness is the gatekeeper that sees what is coming in, what is arising, what is departing, what is passing away, what is strengthened in the mind and what is weakened. And we discern what to turn towards and what to move away from. What heart qualities do we strengthen and what unwholesome mind states do we abandon? So each moment, curious, discerning, sensing into what is there, and choosing where to go from there to give rise to this heart that continues to open up, that feels deeply and fully, and to loosen the grip, the mental grip that we have to concepts and memories, ideas. Turning to the state of allowing, allowing the flow of energy, mental, emotional, and bodily energy to flow through us. Not trying to hold it back, not trying to push it away, and letting the breath energy move through the body. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherit its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherits its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts, they will be the heirs. Slowly rising from meditation, maybe lingering there for a little while. If you touch into some stillness or some relief or ease, maybe savoring that just a little longer, extending that wholesome quality, if that was there, or just to acknowledge what shifted, what changed, what's here for you now. I'd like to share a poem, a recent favorite of mine, that really speaks maybe about what we encounter in this time, or where our mind and heart are on different pages, where at times when we feel disconnected to our body and we're so in our head, or our emotions sweep us away, or there's a tug on our heart and we can't fully be present. So here's how it begins. My brain and heart divorced a decade ago over who was to blame about how big of a mess I have become. Eventually, they couldn't be in the same room with each other Now my head and my heart share custody of me. I stay with my brain during the week, and my heart gets me on the weekends. They never speak to one another. Instead, they give me the same note to pass to each other every week. And their notes they send to one another always says the same thing. This is all your fault. On Sundays, my heart complains about how my head has let me down in the past. And on Wednesday, my head lists all the times my heart has screwed things up for me in the future. They blame each other for the state of my life. There's been a lot of yelling and crying. So lately I've been spending a lot of time with my gut, who serves as my unofficial therapist. Most nights I sneak out of the window in my rib cage and slide down my spine and collapse on my gut's plush leather chair that's always open for me. And I just sit, 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 sit until the sun comes up. Last evening, my gut asked me if I was having a hard time being caught between my heart and my head. I nodded. I said I didn't know if I could live with either of them anymore. My heart is always sad about something that happened yesterday, while my head is always worried about something that may happen tomorrow. I lamented. My gut squeezed my hand. I just can't live with my mistakes of the past or my anxiety about the future, I sighed. My gut smiled and said, in that case, you should go stay with your lungs for a while. I was confused. The look on my face gave it away. If you are exhausted about your heart's obsession with the fixed past and your mind's focus on the uncertain future, your lungs are the perfect place for you. There is no yesterday in your lungs. There's no tomorrow there either. There's only now. There's only inhale. There's only exhale. There's only this moment. There's only breath. And in that breath, you can rest while your heart and head work their relationship out. This morning, while my brain was busy reading tea leaves, and while my heart was staring at old photographs, I packed a little bag and walked to the door of my lungs. Before I could even knock, she opened the door with a smile, and as a gust of air embraced me, she said, "What took you so long?" My John wrote down, "The anatomy of peace." Is there something that is weighing on your mind? Your mind is analyzing, trying to solve it, trying to make sense of it, and your heart is saying something else. And yet you feel something in your gut. How's the body feeling in this moment? What's it saying? What is the gut saying? How is the gut experiencing this argument between the what the mind is saying and what the heart is saying? Um, Someone asked in the past couple of days, Someone asked the question, a young practitioner asked the question, how do I know when to trust what I'm feeling? How do I know if I could trust what I'm feeling in the heart? Is it a clinging or is it a settling experience that the heart is saying, and I can trust that? How do we trust what our mind is telling us? How do we know that we're finally in that state that we can trust what's real and what's true? How to go, where to go from here? And in today's topic around um, exploring skillfulness, right? This way that we explore it through meditation is not through trying to figure out how to be skillful. When we meet things that we don't like, when we meet the unwanted experience or the unwholesomeness or violence or negativity, but this way that we are exploring through the practice of meditation and through mindfulness calls us to drop the concepts of the mind, right? To come back to that state of samadhi, of serenity. And what needs to be removed so as we're practicing, I mentioned in the guided meditation that there is an active part that is happening. We're not just sitting passively and just letting ourselves get carried away and like a feather in the wind, but we're actively looking, selecting what to cultivate, what to um, maintain, what to sustain, and what to prevent and guard ourselves from, what to abandon. You know, it's like the it's like the garden, a garden that we want to grow beautiful things inside of that garden. We want that garden to bear fruit and veggies for us. We have to look at where the weeds are and pull them out. We have to prepare the soil. Right? And what is this soil that we're preparing? The soil of sila, of virtue, of ethical conduct, of the precepts, not consuming intoxicants that dull the mind, not being heedful and careful about our speech, saying only that which is true, that we know to be true. And is it wise? Is it kind? Is it beneficial? Recently, someone had shared with me that they're not seeing, they're not inspired to practice meditation because when they practice, they maybe feel a little bit at times like, okay, there's uh, a chill effect. And then other times it just doesn't feel good. And they said, I don't see the benefits of it for myself. I don't know that I'm having any insights. And as we unpack this in just a few minutes, what became clear was that, there was a need to look at sila, to look at virtue. It's like to prepare that soil, we have to make sure we have good soil, right? And to prepare the garden, we have to make sure we have good soil. and the very tough roots and rocks are removed from that soil, and we put in really good fertilizer. And then, you know, what seeds will we put into the ground? Will we put into the soil and bury and water? So this is part of the how do we cultivate, how do we explore what skillfulness is when we want to be a skillful gardener? We take time looking at, what's not working in the garden. Why are our plants and not growing the way we want it to? Why are we not experiencing the fruit of our practice? What do we need to prevent, guard? What do we need to uh, uproot? What needs to be removed? What thoughts? What feelings? What actions? What habitual actions or ways of thinking needs to be removed or uprooted? So I think one of the thing I really appreciate about the approach of looking at right effort, particularly when we're looking at unwholesome states, is that we're not making those things wrong, and we're not making ourselves bad and wrong for having them, but we recognize how deep-seated they are, and then our work is to step into a bigger view of our commitment to our own well-being, to happiness, to our liberation, and that yearning, that desire we have for peace in our life, or for a lasting happiness or joy, for harmony, for relationships that work. What is it that needs to be removed? I'm just coming back from um, a weekend with the monastics, with my beloved teacher Ajahn Sona, and with other bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, and just present to how we spend our time, what we choose to do with our time can also help us to not engage in those unwholesome qualities of mind, those things that are no longer serving us. There's so many spaces, mental spaces that we can dwell in. When we dwell in the news, the media, certain conversations, that is what seeds are we watering. So mindfulness is this gatekeeper, this guard that is always seeing what is going on internally. Where's the mind going? What does it want? What is coming to the surface? Like, that plant, that sprout that comes up from the soil. What's coming up through the soil? What's sprouting? And then, oh, is this one I want to keep, or is this one that I want to remove? And when we see that it's a weed that's starting to grow in and we want to remove it, we don't wait, we don't delay. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow or later. We recognize that it matters. It's urgent, and to do it while the roots are still very soft and tiny and easy to pull out, rather than wait for it to really, you know, get deep into the soil. And so mindfulness assists us when we are practicing examining and looking at our mind, our thoughts, what's coming in, what's coming to surface, what's coloring the mind. This is the way in which we use the function of mindfulness to help us guard and protect and prevent the unwholesome states of mind that is, pervasive right now. Mm. And what we do with our life matters. What we do in each moment matters. With our body, with our speech, and with our mind. We can choose to redirect away from the unwholesome and come back to our true nature. Come back to that open, boundless, heartful way of being that is just kind of already there. So I mentioned earlier with the samadhi, that's the state, the serene state where we are just calm and abiding and present. That's the place where we can experience a balanced mind and where we can see things clearly. So that going back to that poem, when we're at war with ourselves, our head and our heart are playing tug of war. This what I love here is this invitation to check in with the body, the gut. What's the gut saying? What's the pain body telling us about this experience? Sharing in the past few weeks, I was having some serious gut issue, and my mind was saying one thing, my heart was saying another thing, and this poem was really spoke to that. And then on one end, I was really working with external conditions to eat the right thing and not eat this, avoid that. But it was on a deeper level, a cellular level. There were things that the heart and mind were arguing about, and it caused a lot of havoc in my gut. And my gut said, "Stop, listen to me, take care of me, help me relax. What do you need to do to help me relax?" So finding those supports, those inner resources or external resources. For me, it was going to yin yoga and the counterbalance of that personality in me that likes to, you know, make things happen and ambitious and gotta get this done or figured out. So that practice allowed this more of a settling, calming, quieting, stretching. Today when I was in the car with one of the ayahs who's coming as one of our guest teacher in August. She was sharing, Niyanika was sharing about how for her anchor was a teddy bear. She would have a teddy bear in her lap, and that would help her come back, come back to the heart, come back to that tenderness. And then for some of us, it might be our cats or dogs or maybe a little, you have those fidget toys, right? So, yeah. Hmm. Or a mala bead, whatever that might be for us. But this invitation of, letting the heart and mind work it out in its time, letting it settle in its time. And our primary work, the active part, is to keep coming back to our anchor. Come back to the breath. Come back to be with the body. Practice that kindness, that care, that gentleness, the way in which we meet ourselves with gentleness as the heart and the mind work itself out, right? Letting that settle. So I feel like this poem kind of speaks about that leading up to samadhi, that state of, serenity and tranquility, and where we access joy is when we come back to our lungs or to the belly breathing or to that place where we can really calm and soothe ourselves amidst not knowing what's going to be the results, where this is headed, what's going to happen to our world and our country, or to our family or our relationship, or to our job or finances. That there's this skillfulness, which is, what's going to serve me in this moment? Is it to worry about this, to ruminate about this, to catastrophize, to continue to water the seed of fear or anger or aversion, or to recognize what's there and then come back to this this place of being with our lungs, being with our breath, letting our breath take care of us, letting the Dharma be like that warm, plushy blanket that warms our body. Today, Ajahn Sona was sharing, this series of talks that he's going to be giving around um, a cool head and a warm body or warm heart. So a cool head and a warm heart. So to have a cool head, we, open up the windows, let the breeze come in, feel the freshness, the lightness, the coolness of that breeze. When we are so closed up in our view and our thinking, our head gets really hot. There's a lot of fire there. We're closed in. And so when we practice thinking about this cool head, it's a way in which we open up the window of our mind to let in the breeze, let in the light, the sun, letting the breeze flow in and out. And then the warm heart is like I was thinking about that Dharma blanket that keeps us warm. So it warms the body. And we're practicing the quality of loving kindness, that that warmth that lets us lets our nervous system calm down. It's okay. You're gonna be okay. We're gonna be okay. There's a feeling of safety and security when we practice loving kindness and goodwill, seeing the good, seeing what's possible. So warm heart or warm body, warm heart and cool head. So that's the way that we can find that balance when we're working with the unwholesome qualities. So the first two of the four right efforts is um, to abandon unwholesome or unskillful qualities or states of mind that have already arisen. So if they're already there, we're going to work to uproot them or relinquish them, right? And then the qualities, the unskillful qualities that have not yet arisen, we prevent that from arising. So mindfulness is the gatekeeper that closely watches. Even before something arises, we can start to see the conditions coming together. This is how we know ourselves. Like, oh, okay, I know what I'm going to do next. If I go into the kitchen and I see brownies on that island, I know what's going to happen. It's happened to me at the Abbey so often when I'm coming in at night, like 10, 11 p.m. to do my kitchen duties. As soon as my eyes make contact with the kitchen island, I'm like, oh, I wasn't hungry, but now I am. I wasn't craving anything, but now all of a sudden I'm hungry. I really have to eat that. And so we, to what is that, quality that, is it greed? Is it anger? Is it, desire? Is it mm, aversion, or any of the other mental states that are not serving us? How to prevent their arising. So knowing the conditions that lead to their arising and preventing it, seeing it from afar. And I'm just thinking of like the guard or the gatekeeper seeing the guests from afar coming. They've not yet come to the gate, but it's like, oh, I see them, and preventing them from getting close. Or maybe like the soil, right? So we're tilling the soil, and there's what is it, a hoe? Is that what you call it? The hoe that you can, just scrape the soil with to get everything out, and maybe what's under there that we can't see with our eyes beneath the surface. So we're going in and digging really deep to get that out before it starts to come up into the surface and it becomes harder. So for me, that might be not going into the kitchen at like 10, 11 p.m. at night, finishing up my kitchen duties early so I won't have to break my fast. So looking at the unwholesome states and recognizing, how important it is to put in the effort. There's, we talk a lot about mindfulness, but like effort is the other quality that supports mindfulness, takes it further than just being aware, right? Because we could be aware of something and just being aware of it is doesn't make that much of a difference in the results that we can have. It's the effort that we apply to what we are now aware of. Yeah, so just knowing it makes no difference. It's now, what's that effort? What's that energy? Do I give energy to this or do I not give energy to this? Am I going to take the bait? Am I going to go into this argument? Or am I going to, you know, remain silent as a skillful response? So effort, when coupled with mindfulness, cuts through the hindrances, of um, desire, aversion, right? Cuts through the hindrances of that mm, sleepy dullness, that lethargy, and sometimes it's known as laziness, and cuts through the doubt. So effort with mindfulness helps us cut through the hindrances. Mindful when, ooh, I really like that, but wait a minute, that wasn't offered to me. It's there on the table, but it wasn't offered to me. So there's that effort of, no, don't take something that's not yours, that wasn't offered. I go through that too when I look at that kitchen island and I'm like, is that from everyone or is that for just one person? Can I have that? Maybe they won't. Maybe it's okay if I have one. No one's gonna know. And then I'm like, wait a minute. That's greed trying to convince me that it's okay to grab that one piece of chocolate or that cookie or brownie or something. It's funny, it happens more with sweets, even though I'm not a big sweet person, but yeah, that's kind of a thing right there. I won't do it with like nuts or raisins or anything or dried figs. No, thank you. Just the really good brownies or cookies. Um, so just observing, how to, that with right effort with this present moment awareness leads to samadhi, leads to that serene, still state, which gives rise to insight. Yeah. Hi, Margaret. I see your hands up.
Yeah, can I mention something?
Yes.
Yeah, eh, I just had this experience, and I've had it before. Um, I like to walk outside,
Yeah.
and uh, people are really not sensible a lot of times with the way that they drive.
Mm-hmm.
And, I can try to be as safe as possible myself. Um, um, I happen to be on the side of the road. In fact, I think I was even walking in the gravel part of the road. And um, the two cars that were passing near to me, one of them came up very, very fast and was very large. And when you see a pedestrian, you would hope that they would slow down or cut a wide berth so that you have some room. But that wasn't happening. And so I just put my hand up like this. And as the driver started to go past me, he rolled down the window and yelled that I have to be more careful. So, and I didn't feel like I had any place to go. And I said to him, you have to be more careful. I think I said that, yeah. And it was left at that.
Mm-hmm.
But there was definitely an energetic quality to the compulsive act of yelling back at him, because I felt like I was definitely not in the wrong, on this. And so a lot of times I've noticed with drivers, it can be very, very, very difficult to guard your senses,
Mm-hmm.
because these large cars can feel very threatening at times,
Mm-hmm.
and they come very fast, and many people just do not consider what it's like to be a pedestrian near to their large car, and so I didn't mean to tell that all those details, but they're important in this particular sense, because I really have to work with my effort and mindfulness. But it's difficult, because the difficult part is that you feel as though you're going to lose your life.
Yeah.
And it's happened to me a number of times as a pedestrian, and that can be very challenging, very challenging.
Yeah.
And I'm doing better in some ways than I've done in the past, but there's still some spiritual practices that I need to work on, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm sorry about what happened for you. And yeah, it's like we can see, when our life is being threatened,
Mm-hmm.
the anger that arises, the things that wants to be said, it's
Mm-hmm.
valid. It's, you know, and then there's, also how good it is that we can be aware that, oh yeah, I do that around, there's certain, maybe even like areas or certain incidents that were triggered more than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
For you, it's walking and then with cars. For me, it's being in meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with like traffic thing, but it's the meeting thing
Huh. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
where I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
want there to be some other way. People should
Yeah.
be like this. This is how
Yeah.
we should talk.
Yeah. Yeah.
So isn't that interesting, right?
Yeah.
The areas where we can see, okay, yeah, I could work on skillfulness here, how to be skillful here, and how to,
Well, and it does it helps. I just haven't. I'd like to be able to keep it in my mind more often, and I may be able to my karmic stream and how important that is to me, and so um, to find the most skillful way as possible to manage,
yeah,
the situations.
hmm yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, you will. Thank you for sharing, Margaret. And I was thinking, you know, another way that I've looked at that in the past where I felt like, oh, that person almost hit me, right? When I'm crossing
Yeah,
the street or something is,
yeah.
and another angle to see it too is actually they wouldn't want to do that because
Mm-hmm,
there's a
mm-hmm,
lot at stake for them if that actually
mm-hmm,
happened.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
I met a couple folks in my past who, yeah, injured someone really
yeah.
badly. And it
Mm-hmm.
really, I mean, I saw the suffering of their life for
Yes.
years, the years that went
Mm-hmm.
on about driving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they didn't even drive, actually. And so when I think about it from that angle, like, you know, that person really doesn't want to do that. It would be
Mm-hmm.
devastating for them.
Yeah. Their awareness isn't there.
Yes,
Doesn't seem to.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you take the mic, Scott? Okay. Thank you, Margaret.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just seeing it from that angle, and it also makes me think of like just drivers in general, like the road rage. This is something I really resonate with too, is, you know, in the years when I was in Chicago, having that shift of driving with metta,
Mm-hmm.
right, with loving kindness. And it's like, it was this like, I viewed any car that cut me off or that was going really fast as like, there, there's someone going into labor. Like that helped me. Anytime I thought that someone's going into labor, okay, please go. I'll get out of your way. Go, go,
Right.
go, go, go. Right. So that really helped me. And I saw
Mm-hmm.
everyone who was rushing as, oh, maybe his wife is going to labor. Maybe she's going into labor. It helped me to
Mm-hmm.
kind
To
of give
manage
way
the,
and
yeah.
manage and my
Yeah.
heart soften and
Yeah.
open and remain in a state of caring and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
John
Mm-hmm.
Sona, he talked about it over the weekend because that came up too, where, he's like, oh, they too want to get there like I do. Oh, they too hate this traffic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, we're all dealing with this, and he's
Mm-hmm.
like, let's generate some traffic love instead of some road love instead of road rage.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Road hearts. Yeah.
or, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Margaret.
All right. Thank you.
Mm, yes,
You
God.
know, it could be that the drivers who don't respect the right of way of pedestrians are kind of forgetting about karmic consequences when they try and psych out the pedestrian and push ahead and not
Yeah.
give right away. And some municipalities, I don't think around here, but I've heard of this in other parts of the country, put little karmic reminders at the intersection that there are consequences of your actions.
Mm.
And they do this by putting a pile of bricks on the corner. And so a pedestrian will grab a brick, hold it up high, and walk across the intersection, and cars slow down because it's a reminder that there are consequences to your actions. What a wonderful little reminder that there are of karmic consequences. And it's made for those intersections to be much safer. I mean, it works.
That's interesting.
Baseball bats would work too, yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Rob, he, him. And I really liked this discussion, bricks notwithstanding, because that was great. I've one thing that kind of came to me was how much in my lifetime I've been curious in my mind space and not so curious in my heart space. And so it's a great awareness for me to be thinking about how I can exercise that curiosity, and to have to be in better touch. And I mean, the poem was very appropriate as well. So I'm kind of resolving to explore that in my practice. So that's that's one thing that I've taken away from this tonight. I also liked the idea of plucking the weed while it's really small. I mean, I can sometimes literally see a thought arise, and then it's like, oh yeah, that's not going to go well, or yeah, you can just imagine where that's going to end up, and then it's like, poof, it's gone. So you can really uproot thoughts before they become repetitive, or they become accretive, where they're kind of building, and all of a sudden you're building a story or something. And the habits of the mind are that the more you think about something, the more it entrenches. It becomes a mental habit, whether it's a view of the world or a way of thinking. So yeah, I really appreciate today's discussion. So thanks.
Thank you, Rob. So incredible, the function of mindfulness, and how mindfulness helps us first see what is arising, whether we catch it as it's coming up or before. And then I was thinking about that hole again, it's like this claw, it's combing through the soil of our mind, and it's the heart and the mind, it's combing through and filtering. Another way of describing it is this cleansing, purifying, right? And and with that, where the effort that we're putting in is combing through and sifting that soil and getting it to be really good, right? Really, and getting in touch with that pliability of the mind. Like, oh, I can change my mind. I can change my thoughts. I can change how I'm feeling about the state of things. I can choose where to put my energy, my life force. And I can also become aware where my life force has been dampened right, are held back. As these unwholesome states of mind and hindrances, they weigh us down. They're obstructions. That's why they're called obstructions of mind. They obstruct our life force, our energy, and they block this breath energy to move freely. And so as we get in touch with what's there internally, noticing where there's like the strong, intense sensation, or, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, the pain body. We're getting in touch with how we're holding that inside, how we're holding that thought and emotion in the body. And then how is it impacting the heart? Right? And so through this practice of letting the heart and mind settle when it does, the cleansing happens. The purification of the defilement happens in this way, where we just observe and then we work with the efforts of, uprooting, right? Selecting, preventing, guarding. Yeah, it's a way to get the heart and mind back to that purified, boundless, open state.
I've practiced for a fair amount of years now, and I'm kind of in this space right now where my daily work is really beating me up, and it's hard in some moments during, as it's pretty intense right now, to stay equanimous, to not be jerked around about things. I have been, attending my sanghas. I'm glad to be here tonight, even though this afternoon I got a migraine. So I'm really suffering with it right now, which is, hard to keep my eyes open. But I came anyway, because I knew, it'd be still good to have that quiet time and be with it. And I've been shutting down a lot after work, being a hermit, a bit of a hermit. And I've transitioned after work, I've sort of been, okay, let's just do the daily calm. Maybe it's just 10 minutes before I do some things. I know that I haven't done as much as I would like to, go out and for a walk and so forth, but maybe I've just taken time to know, okay, all I need is a little compassion. Where would I be without my practice? Being aware that I don't need to call someone because I know that that wouldn't satisfy. That would just be, I'm not in that existential crisis, right? I'm not in that reaching and clawing for something. I am aware that this is a really hard time. And I'm aware that what I need is just to be calm. I'm aware of what's going on. I'm not having panic attacks, right? I'm aware of what I need just to be with it. And while my body it's not a, it's not going to rescue me from a migraine occasionally, right? But the practice has been there to at least give me refuge, right? As you're talking, I'm here, I'm in refuge. I'm at night, in the evening, I turn on Dharma seat. I look for something that is, can be fulfilling and not for, just an escape. So I guess it was just, kind of just this moment where I was realizing I'm not doing everything right. It's not all like, in the moment, but I am taking some refuge and my practice has benefited. Where would I be without it? Probably a lot worse and in really a messy state. So just to share that, wow, I guess those years have culminated in something. It would be a lot worse if I didn't have it. Right. So.
Thank you, Sandra. Yeah. Yeah. Just even, recognizing like, oh, of course this is hard right now. Of course my nervous system is like this right now, or my body's carrying this tension. The key is to not make it wrong. It's when we make the unwholesome states or qualities wrong. That's the second arrow. That's preventing us to remove the arrow because we just shot ourselves with the second arrow. So then now we can't even, come make our way back to the first arrow because we're suffering from the second arrow. So to not make it wrong when we feel emotional, when we feel, confused, or when we're just indecisive, or we're in our anxious state. Oh, of course, there's a lot going on. Recently I was working with someone on this, and we've been working on, just discussing their anxiety for like a good 2 weeks. And then, I kept acknowledging that what you're going through right now, this is huge. Just take time to acknowledge that. So of course you're going to feel extremely anxious, disembodied, disconnected. And then when they came to really see that, oh my gosh, this was supposed to be a 3-person project and I'm taking this on myself. I'm on my own. And I made it like I have to be better or different about this than how I am. It was that moment of recognizing that where they gave themselves the grace. And there was this, oh, no wonder. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is hard. That's that going back to acknowledging the first noble truth. Yeah, of course, this is challenging. And I appreciated what you said about equanimity. So going back to that example in the poem is like, while the mind's doing this and the heart's this and they're arguing, there's awareness that can just be equanimous and just watch, let things settle. Right? Not judging, not trying to push, not trying to change the outcome or manipulate how the heart and mind is working things out. Just let, because the heart and mind will settle and it will work things out. There's, we just have to trust in that process. However, it unfolds and happens. It's like we water the seed. We made sure it had good soil, and we give it the right amount of shade and sun, and then we just have to just trust and watch it, watch that sprout up and the plant grow. So that rising of insight comes when we can remain equanimous to the experience, to what is happening. Yeah. And I acknowledge that even with what we're currently seeing in the world and in our political uh, climate, it's like we can allow ourselves to experience the human emotion. And then can we observe this with equanimity? Can we observe the sadness with equanimity? And can we also touch into what's on the other side of that coin? That right here, here, right now, I do have the conditions for happiness. exactly the way it is at the same time. So it's like always there's what I love about Buddhism, which is also the trickiest part about Buddhism, is the paradox of holding two things at the same time. You know, applying effort, but also effortless, you know, and so touching the sadness, but also recognizing the happiness that's there. Like today, I was filled with joy as I was coming back, and then there was a conversation that occurred that had me touch into some deep pain about what's going on now. And I was like, oh, yeah, that didn't ruin my day because a conversation came up that had me in touch with this pain. That's just recognizing all of it that's here. So when we can embrace the paradox of all things, we're not mm, turning an eye away. We're not bypassing anything. We're, yeah, we're embracing the totality of the experience, that we can have the difficult conversation and we can, also bring about the lightness as well. So I'd like to end with a chant. Actually, I changed my mind. We're going to chant the reflections on universal well-being, which is on the back side of the handout for those of you in the room. And then for everyone on Zoom, I'm going to share my screen to this reflection. And this reflection, first speaks about, you know, um, this effort that we can put forth for our own well-being, and then the well wishes, this goodwill that we send out to others. And then in the last part of it, it's, if you look closely, the last part of the reflection is about karma, recognizing karma that's in our thoughts, our speech and our action. And all of that is that volitional intention. And, even though to me intention is something we consciously choose, there's also the aspect of what we do that's we're ignorant to, like we unknowingly cause harm. That too has consequences. Yeah. And that's our work, is that we're looking to, uproot where we are not seeing things clearly, where we are deluded, where we are attached or have a fixed view, where there's might be an obstruction that is preventing us from seeing things clearly. Okay, so let me open up the chat book here. The dog wants to join us. There's a dog barking outside the window. He's ready to chant too. Mm. Now let us chant the reflections on universal well-being. May I abide in well-being, in freedom from affliction, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may I maintain well-being in myself. May everyone abide in well-being, in freedom from hostility, in freedom from ill will, in freedom from anxiety, and may they maintain well-being in themselves. departed from the good fortune they have attained. When they act upon intention, all beings are the owners of their action and inherits its results. Their future is born from such action, companion to such action, and its results will be their home. All actions with intention, be they skillful or harmful, of such acts they will be the heir. Sometimes when I invite this bell, I smile because I'm one with the breath, and then other times I smile because a memory comes up about this bell. And this bell was a gift from uh, my dear friends Kimberly and Vicky when they went to they were in Nepal when he used to live there, and she'd come and visit. And Kimberly's actually here with us, and I smile because I think of the journey that they went on to sound every bell to find the one that they're going to bring back for me. And so sometimes when we can cultivate even the pleasant memories when they do arise, to allow for them to invoke the joy or the wholesome qualities, right? Emotions that actually start to nourish us and continue to cultivate that well-being in us.
Mhm.
So choosing which one to keep, and that's the one that if you see me smile from now on behind the scenes, sometimes it is that memory that comes up of, oh, Kimberly and Vicky got this, and they traveled quite a way and had their journey to finding the bell. So thank you, Kimberly and Vicky from Nepal. And Tibetan bowls are not made in Tibet. Okay, they're made in Nepal. So just a plug right there for that. Oh,
Okay.
well,
Well,
thank you everyone for being here. And feel
all
free
right.
to
Take care,
unmute
everyone.
yourself if
Thank you.
you
Uh-huh.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Sigrid and Sandra, Edward.
Okay.
I wish you all a wonderful day. May you be well.
Thank you.
Mm. Mm. Bye, Kimberly. I'm probably busy with the kids right now. Hands preoccupied.